Right, it's January in the veg garden, and you'd be forgiven for thinking that, you know, garden's gone to bed, nothing to do at the moment, nothing till March. But there's actually quite a lot that you can sow and grow at this time of year. And it's quite a nice antidote to Christmas and everything as well, I think, to get out in January and start things off, get the new year off with a swing. So say several things you can do. Quick growing crops like salad leaves are always very good. So lettuces, rockets, anything fast growing can be sown now, especially if you can give it a little bit of protection in a greenhouse or a cold frame mini greenhouse, anything like that. Even on a windowsill though, if that's all you've got, it's still worth sowing a tray of mixed salad leaves, which you'll find in the garden centre and in your seed catalogues. Worth doing those from January onwards on a warm sunny windowsill. But another thing you can sow is onions, and I've already filled a tray here with some multi-purpose compost, or you could use sowing compost instead. It doesn't need to be anything special really. These are quite big cells because I'm actually going to do this a little bit differently and sow the onions in little pinches, as I'll explain as we go along. So I've got an onion here. This is Elsa Craig, which is a really well-known popular onion, and it's one that exhibitors have often used in the past, still do, to get nice big onions, but they do need quite a long growing season to get those lovely big bulbs, hence starting them in January if you can. Exhibitors will even start them earlier, in December. But just open the packet here. So I've already filled the tray with multi-purpose compost, and the seeds are like little black chips, a charcoal really. We'll just tip a few out. Not very big seeds, but not too bad to handle. At least you can see them being jet black. But rather than sow 1 or 2 seeds per cell, if you take a little pinch of seeds, perhaps 4 or 5 seeds if you can, and just scatter them over the top in each cell. And what I'll do is actually leave those in there. Once they grow, they'll probably come up within, if you've got a little bit of heat, if you can put these in a propagator afterwards, so they've got just a little bit of heat in an electric propagator, you should see them come up within 10-14 days, something like that, maybe 21 days if you haven't quite got enough heat. But if you can set your propagator to about 60 degrees Fahrenheit, these should be up in about 14 days. And what you'll get is a little group of seedlings. Now we'll let those grow on, and by the time you get to March, you should have some nice little young plants growing on there. In those cells, plenty of roots as well, nice healthy roots. But when you come to plant them outside March, April time probably, when they'll be ready, you can leave them as they are and just plant them as single plugs and grow them on as a group. And what will happen is that rather than getting excuse me, these big bulb onions, what you'll get is a group of smaller onions. But a lot of people actually prefer them not too big, because they're perhaps a bit more convenient in the kitchen than one big bulb. Obviously if I did want bigger bulbs, then I'd just sow 1 or 2 seeds, perhaps 2 seeds in a cell, and thin to the best seedling a little later. But as I say, if you grow them on in a group like this, you get a nice little bunch of smaller bulbs which you can pull out the biggest. You can even harvest them when they're sort of spring onion size if you want to, but then you can let the rest of the group grow on, and just gradually thin them and use them. And it's a nice convenient way of producing smaller bulbs in the garden. As I say, what I'll do now is once I've sown these as a pinch, just cover them over with a little bit more compost, or you could use vermiculite if you wanted to. Just a little bit over the top. Like that. Break up any big lumps. Give them a water, label them up, put them on the greenhouse bench. If you have got a heated propagator, pop them in there, few weeks time they'll be up, and then they won't need any heat after that. You can just grow them on, plant them out in March time.